Welcome back to Into Uncharted Waters. Today we're diving into a story of creativity, compassion, and community. I'm thrilled to have two incredible guests who've combined their love for crafting with their drive to make a difference. They're the founders of Thoughtful Threads, a social impact club where members crochet and knit items such as cozy blankets and cheerful hats to donate to hospitals. Let's learn more about their journey, their mission, and how they're spreading warmth with every stitch. So our two guests are going to introduce themselves now.
Okay, hi, I'm Campbell Faunestock. I am one of the co-founders of Thoughtful Threads. I am also a student athlete. I play lacrosse.
I'm Karis Crooms. I'm also obviously co-founder of Thoughtful Threads, and I'm president of our club.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so first question, can you tell us a little bit more about yourselves and how Thoughtful Threads came to be and what inspired you to start the club?
Okay, it was kind of like a silly story. So like we were in just study hall one day and we were talking about, I said like, oh yeah, I know how to knit. Campbell was like, oh yeah, I can crochet. And we were like, oh, we should make a club. Like that would be so much fun. And then like make it a little more like incentivizing and like impactful. We were like, we could donate everything we make to charities. So
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
We kind of started like talking and we were like, oh, Karis was like, oh, I know some people from Austin Street Center. And I was like, oh, well, my aunt works at Baylor Scott and White. So we have like the connections we can donate to both those like organizations. And right now, I think mainly we're just donating to Baylor Scott and White. We're donating baby blankets to like the NICU center. So it was really just like, oh, like you have connections, I have connections. You can knit, I can crochet. Let's teach people.
So how old were you, or kind of when was the first time you learned how to crochet?
I learned to crochet at camp about 4 years ago in like 2021. I think I was 12. And I just learned to do it with some friends. It was a class at camp, and I had so much fun. We like crocheted like animals and stuff and kind of just like traded them with each other. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
I learned from this like I think it was like a yarn club at my old school Dealey, and I started off with just knitting, and eventually I like sort of learned how to crochet, but not really. Knitting is really my main.
Okay, our next question is, what inspired you to start this club as freshmen, and why are hospitals the main focus of your donations?
I feel like we had the idea in 8th grade, and we were like, we can just get it done as soon as we can to like maximize impact and just like time we spend doing it. And hospitals is mainly because Campbell's aunt.
Yeah, I feel like if my aunt didn't work at Baylor, I would probably not have thought of that or had the connections to donate there specifically. Probably not have ever like got the idea. And I feel like I just heard through my friends who are older, like who are current sophomores. Like they told me that, oh, you can start your own club. There's so many fun things you can do. And I just thought like, oh, that would be such a great idea. Like if we could just start our own club next year.
Make an impact on the community.
Exactly.
That's such an inspiring story. What was the process like to officially start the club, and were there any hurdles you had to overcome throughout the journey?
I feel like there weren't that many hurdles, but we basically just had one of our like teachers email us. I think it was Mr. Inerarity.
Yeah.
He emailed everyone and said you can submit a form with your idea if you wanted to start a club. And we did. We submitted a form. We submitted the form. We put in like a blurb of what our club is. We just kind of gave like a general gist, and he liked the idea. So we ended up getting to go to the club fair, like the social impact fair, and just present what our club was, and people could sign up.
Yeah, we also like it was a bit of like we had to get a sponsor, and I emailed like a few teachers. We ended up with the health teacher, Miss Jenkins.
She's love you, Miss Jenkins.
Shout out.
My favorite. And then there was like a lot of documentation stuff that we had to do, which was like a little bit harder, but like that really wouldn't have stopped us.
We did have to make a constitution. That was kind of weird, only because I didn't really know what needed to like what it needed to consist of,
Right.
because it was kind of just like so silly at first. It didn't really seem like a real like this was like a real thing. Like this just kind of seemed like a joke.
And then like
But
the main concern we had was like, I don't know if enough people are gonna want to do it. You
Yeah.
have to have
Yeah.
10 members in your club, and so the club fair we like were just really trying to like everyone you have to take a paper. Like if you come here, take a paper. And then we ended up with like 2 above what we
Oh, that's
needed to have.
amazing.
Yeah.
But now we definitely have so many more friends that have come and just joined, like Bailey over there. They aren't necessarily like actual members of the club, but it doesn't really matter because they're honorary members, and they'll definitely join next year. And it's so nice to have friends that are interested in our hobbies and our charity.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, next question. We're going to kind of dive into like your leadership roles as freshmen. So, how did it feel stepping into leadership roles as freshmen? And did you face any challenges maybe working with older students?
It was really like because a lot of our members are our own age and like our club is kind of a more community-based thing. It really wasn't that hard. Like the only leadership type thing we really did was like getting them to learn, but it was honestly like the easiest part of all of it was just like it's more like making friends than like leading them.
I do have to say one thing, though, is when we went to go present our club at the club fair, there was a lot of upperclassmen that have had clubs for many years. And we kind of felt like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. No one really told us what we needed to have. Like, people brought, like, boba and cookies. And I was like, no one told me we had to bring stuff. No one's going to sign up because we don't have cookies. But it seemed to all work out at the end. I was a little intimidated at first by the upperclassmen, but it really just is just like a community thing. So, no.
So age doesn't matter. You're friends with everyone. Oh, that's amazing. So I guess then, how did you ever have any like trouble kind of establishing your voice and earning respect from people? And like, how did you not maintain authority, but how did you keep everyone in check to make sure that the club was running smoothly?
People, I mean, maybe it's just like we got lucky with the people in our club. They're kind of just really chill. Like they were all eager to learn, which made it a lot easier to teach them because they would, work hard to actually understand what we're doing. And then like once you learn, it's like most of the time you spend working with the club is outside of the club. It's just like working on your own time. So I would say like maintaining order and all of that really was not a huge problem.
Also, like, there just isn't, it's so, like, a simple concept. Like, everyone just gets to learn to crochet and hang out together that I feel like there wasn't really any need for, like, order. I feel like it was just kind of like, oh, let's all sit down in a circle and hang out. And it felt more like everyone's hanging
community.
out as friends. Yeah, than, like, oh, like, I'm the owner of, like, we're the owners of this club. Like, we're all making the same stuff at the same time, so.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
Okay. What has been the most rewarding part of leading this initiative so far?
I really like seeing everyone kind of like understanding how to do it and finally getting to do it on their own and like all the time they put into it. Honestly, sometimes it's more than me, like more than the time I put into making the blankets and all that. And also like maybe this is just me, but like I always think all of the baby blankets I had as a kid, I've kept them and like they're kind of really important to me. So like that the fact that this might be that for someone else is like, I don't know, it's nice to think about.
Wait, that was actually like so sweet.
Nice.
I think it's really nice to see people like just random people like Bailey over there. She'll just be like crocheting every now and then after a meeting, just like in the hallways, and I think that's like so cute just because like you can just see people like actually enjoy it and like respect like the idea of crocheting and love doing it, and I just think that's so fun that like we were the ones that like brought that to them, and I just think that's such a sweet like idea.
So maybe you guys sparked a passion and found someone else discovered something they love to do because of your club. That is quite amazing. Okay, now balancing school and the club. So how do you balance running this club? Because I'm sure it's a lot of work with school, homework, and even your personal lives.
I think that sometimes I just get so busy with school, I like forget that this club even like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I'm the one that has to schedule the meetings. I gotta go text Karis. We gotta figure out like what food we're bringing, and I'll just remember like once a month, and like we'll make a meeting. I feel like sometimes it's hard to balance. Like sometimes Karis will be like, we have a meeting tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, I have a test. Actually next period, and I need to study. But it's really never like that time consuming to where like it's actually like a big struggle for me.
And sometimes I find it helps, like when I'm working on something, it sort of takes my mind, like if I'm super stressed about something, it sometimes like is good to take my mind off of the things that are going on at school. So like balancing it hasn't been a big issue, just because like yeah, I really only do it when I have to.
That's great. So how much time do you dedicate to Thoughtful Threads each week, and how do you manage that when it gets too out of control?
Honestly, okay, on breaks I find myself spending a lot of time crocheting or knitting, because like I'll just do it when I'm watching a show. Like it's a fun thing to just do with my hands. Usually this happens like after we've had a meeting, like the week after I'll spend a ton of time. And then like as we get through the weeks, it'll like slow down until it gets to like none. And then we have our monthly meeting again, and then it'll pick back up. So like on good weeks, like a few hours, maybe like 3 or 4. On bad weeks, 0.
Mine's like the same way. I'll like forget. I'll be like, I'll see like a hook in like the corner of my room. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have so much yarn, and I could be crocheting right now.
Could be making something.
A lot of times I'll be like on call with my friends, and I'm just like, I need something to do. Like I need like my hands need to fidget, and I'm like, I could go play video games. I could watch a show. I could do something. I'm like, oh, I should just go crochet. I need to make something.
So for your club, how many blankets have you donated so far, or roughly like an estimate?
So actually, instead of like donating in like increments, we just are like accumulating all of them
all together
at the end of the year, because I think we might like put a bow around them and like give them all at once. So I think right now we have like, well, actually we got a lot recently. Yeah. We have like 7.
That's amazing.
Because I've made a few, and then we've had people from our club make some. So.
And also it will probably like go up from there, because more people are learning. And so hopefully we'll have even more next time around.
Yeah,
exponentially. And for you all, how long does it take you to make one of them?
I feel like Karis and I, like, well, for her with knitting, actually she's like insanely fast, so just kidding. But I was gonna say for her with knitting, she's a lot faster, which is actually crazy. But I would say that for me at my current skill level, it might take me like 2 hours to make a full blanket. Like this I started today,
and you've gone pretty far.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, how big is this, like 3 inches tall. So I feel like it's for us, it's easy to make like blankets in like 1 or 2 days. I think for some people that are like new and beginning, especially if they're not doing it all the time, it can take like a few weeks, them just like picking it up every now and then, not like always doing it, you know.
That's so fun. So what kinds of items do you and your club members create, and how do you decide what to make?
Aside from blankets, there's one member working on like a stuffed animal sort of thing, and then we might start working like after everyone's kind of gotten the technique down, we can work on more sort of stuffed animals and stuff. Or maybe like hats for Austin Street Center, start working on things to donate there. Or maybe just bigger blankets rather than just baby blankets.
Little blankets.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were okay. I feel like just because everyone's like kind of a beginner, you know, this is our first year making the club, it's a lot easier to do like small baby blankets. I feel like definitely like as people advance, we can teach them new stitches. Like I know a couple more stitches than just this like basic 2 double stitch basically is what it's called, and I feel like we can start creating like some really cool things, like Karis said, like hats and like stuffed animals, and just make it look really cool. But I feel like when everyone's a beginner, like this makes sense.
Okay, how do you teach members who might not have any like crocheting or knitting experience?
It's kind of difficult at first. Usually, I'll kind of just give like an overarching oh, like here's how I do it. Maybe I think I played a video too, but I kind of just like stood up in front of everybody and was like, okay, so here's like how to do it. It might be confusing, but just like take it in, and then I'll go. And people will like try and start to figure it out, like trial and error, and I'll sit down with them during a meeting and like I'll just like show them like real up close like how I do it, and I just go through like the basics, teaching them just like how to hold it, like how to hold the hook, how to like maneuver it. And I feel like just sitting down like one-on-one with someone, like that's like what actually gets it to like click. And then like once they like finally get that interest in doing it, like they really start to learn like, oh, like this is how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't do any of the teaching. I've been told I'm a horrible teacher. So that's all Cam. I do like more technical stuff, like when people start learning, and then I'll maybe do a little bit of that. But that's the teaching's all Cam.
Okay, next question. Can you share a story about a moment that stuck with you from your club?
I know I like touched on this earlier, but like it is so funny to see people in the halls, like everyone's crocheting, and like it looks like an elderly center just because like everyone's like crocheting, and I just think it's so like cute and funny, like seeing people like love our club and just like starting conversations about it.
I've heard like a few times people are like, why is everyone knitting? Like, where did all this yarn come from? Like, what happened? And like anytime or anyone is like knitting or crocheting or anything, I like every single time I'm called grandma. Like I without fail, anytime I'm in the hallways or in like a public space, they'll be like, you're actually such an elderly person.
But it's okay because you love it so much.
Exactly.
You get to do what you love.
Shoot, I messed up.
Okay, what advice would you give to students who want to start their own club or take on their own leadership role?
If you're I feel like if you're like a freshman, like it's your first time making a club, or even if you're not a freshman, just definitely understand that like you need to bring food to each meeting and to like the club fairs. I don't know why that is so important, but if there's not food, people just will not be there. Like at every meeting, if there's food, I swear like 3 times as many people show up. If we're like, oh, there's Chick-fil-A, oh, there's cookies, like they will be there. And especially at the club fair, like everyone had food and we just didn't know. We just didn't know that was going to be the thing. So we basically printed out flyers and that was all we had to offer people. Bring food, bring candy, bring something to like lure those people in. I feel like that we did not know. But I don't know.
And then like I think the biggest thing is like if you really care about it, then like what's stopping you? And if you get to do it, then that's great. And if you don't, then if you didn't try, you weren't going to be able to in the first place. So yeah, just go for it and like put yourself out there. And you only need 10 members, and it sounds like a lot at first, but like out of the 500 people in upper school, you're gonna get 10 people.
You're gonna get
just ask you and your friends, and then like it'll probably grow from there. People gain interest by seeing other people do it. So yeah, just put yourself out there.
Also, I just feel like one thing you gotta do is just do it. Like, it's just for sillies. Like, it's not that serious. Like, it really is, though. Like, we just did it because we were, like, just, like, didn't really care. Like, we had enough confidence just to, like, start a club. Like, you just gotta kind of, like, be like, oh, this is really
share your passion.
Yeah, it's really not that serious. Like, you're not gonna be, like, bullied because no one likes your club. Like, just do it. People will join. It'll be fun. And, like, you don't have to be worried about, like, standing up in front of people and talking. Like, it is just, like, it's such a community, and you just gotta do it, and you'll have so much fun.
That's great. Do you have any tips for managing time and staying organized? I mean, especially as freshmen, first year at high school.
I feel like the best thing we did was instead of sending emails, we just like made a GroupMe. I feel like if we didn't have that, it'd be so hard to communicate with people. And I feel like another thing is like just getting a good space, like a space that like makes sense for your club. You know, like if you're doing like a I don't know, a marketing club, let's say, like get like a boardroom. We have those at Hockaday. And for us, like it made sense. We originally were in the health classroom, and it was kind of like it was like almost like a theater type situation, like a lecture room, but it made sense because everyone could sit on the floor, and I had the big screen that I could like present stuff with. I could show people like previous crafts we've done or like stuff we will do, and it was more fun that way. We're now in like in the dorms, I think, but it's nice because we have couches and there's even like a kitchen if we wanted
more space.
It's way more space. Just like just get space that works for you. Cheers.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, of course. So, do you have any tips for managing time and staying organized, especially as freshmen in your first high school year?
Club-wise, say you're having your meeting for like enough time before it so people actually show up. And then sort of like generally school-wise, planners help me. They don't really help everyone, but I know make it like I'll forget my tasks if I don't have them written down, so having that. And then that also helps with out-of-school things, so like I know when I have countering things, so I know how to plan out my days. And then just staying on top of things, like if I get behind, I'll stay behind, so staying ahead is important.
And this, like, I know I don't think I really answered the question, but I know, like, this sounds, like, silly, but it actually, I think it helps so much. It's just, like, in the group meeting, like, we just say, like, silly stuff. Like, we said, like, be there, be square. And I know that sounds, it's like, sounds funny, though. Like, people, like, laughed at that. Like, people thought that was funny. And I think that helps build, like, the community that, like, you need and, like, the friendship within the club that you need. It's just, like, being friendly, be funny. And I feel like that actually helps with, like, time management, because you could say, like, oh, we need to cancel the meeting, and people won't be like, oh, that's unprofessional. They'll be like, oh, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You just need to, like, make sure you're friends with people within your club. Like, be friendly. Don't be, like, too strict like a boss, if that makes sense.
Right. Let everyone have a little bit of freedom to do it, but also have some authority to make sure everything's running smoothly.
Definitely is some natural authority with just us being the teachers and teaching people how to crochet, but I feel like, you know, just it being like a high school club, like it kind of just, authority is already there. You kind of just need to keep it friendly, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess kind of along the lines of leadership, what have you learned about teamwork through this experience?
Karis, you can answer. Go ahead.
Like, I think staying patient when people are learning is very important, or they're going to give up. Like, and then having the option of knitting or crocheting, like, most of the times it's one or the other. Like, some people love to crochet and they just hate knitting, and a lot of people love knitting. That's how I was before this year. I could not stand crocheting. So, like, having the flexibility, and then I forgot the question. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're
like,
good.
So off. Can you repeat it?
Yes.
So
what have you learned about leadership and teamwork through this experience?
Got it. And then leadership, I learned, like, leadership doesn't have to be a power trip.
Right.
As, like, I would be so, if you, like, put yourself in the people you're leading shoes, then you, like, I wouldn't ever come to a club meeting if the person that was leading me was, like, shaming me for not getting on the first try.
Right.
Or shaming me for not coming to meetings. I understand, and we understand that they have other things to do, because we all go to Hockaday and we know it's rigorous.
Right.
And so we're understanding, like, keeping it less serious and making sure you like, put the perspectives into,
into place, yeah.
Into place, yeah.
No, I also feel like doing this with Karis, like, we kind of got a better understanding, which helped, of, like, Karis is better at, like, managing stuff, and I'm kind of good at, like, the more, like, creative stuff. Like, when we made our posters, like, she was, like, writing down the facts. She was, like, writing down, like, what our club is, what we're doing. She was, like, telling me what to write, and I was doing, like, the drawing. But I also feel like that, like, kind of transferred over to, like, me being better as, like, a secretary, and her being better as, like, a coordinator, and, like the hardcore president, if that makes sense, because, like, she can really do, like, those, like, the numbers, and I feel like I do a lot of, like, the communicating, but she actually gets stuff done. So,
well, it's teamwork. You both help each other in different ways, and you learn a lot about yourself too.
I would definitely not be able to do it if I didn't have Campbell. I also do, like, more teacher stuff. Like, I'll coordinate with teachers to find spaces and to just kind of ask questions. But yeah, having two people to lead a club has definitely helped, because it takes a lot of the pressure off of you, and you don't feel like you're in this alone. And it's like, I know I have my strengths, and I don't have I'm not a good teacher. So if Campbell wasn't there to teach, I wouldn't, like, I'd be the only one doing it.
You know, and if Karis wasn't there to, like, set up the actual meeting times and, like, go on the group me and email Miss Jenkins, like, I would I would forget. So like.
Well, it's perfect because you both balance what each other doesn't have.
Exactly.
So you learn a lot from each other. So what's next for Thoughtful Threads? Do you have any goals or plans to expand the club in the future? And are you planning on getting more people outside of your school to get involved?
I feel like I don't know. I don't know, like, if we're going to ever do anything outside of Hockaday with this club. I guess we'll just have to see, like, once we kind of get closer to, like, graduating, because I feel like that's kind of when we can know. One thing that I do think that we will expand, like, with Thoughtful Threads is that we're looking to kind of do, like, a little co-op, with our friends who run DEEP, which is
that's
the
fun.
Dallas Elderly Empowerment Program.
Yeah.
And we were going to, like, go and teach people, like, at an elderly center, like how to crochet and how to knit, and if they know, we can just do it with them. And I feel like that's just such a good thing you can do with older folks. So I feel like that'd be a really cute thing we can like do.
Yeah, and we're also working on, we like barely scratched over the people limit this year, and so like with the new interest in our club, like there's unofficial members of the club, but we're like wanting to get more actual members and like getting more people to come to meetings, just expanding and like
Definitely.
kind of getting everyone interested, because also like it benefits us because like it's better to have more people and we like get to keep on being a club, but also like at least for me, I find like just making things with my hands, like it's fairly repetitive, so like becomes relaxing, which is kind of important when you have all the stress of like school and after school activities and sports in your life. So like just sitting down watching a show and crocheting or knitting really helps to calm me down.
Yeah, if you want to be calmed down, you should join our club.
Crochet and knit.
Yeah.
All right, kind of to wrap it up, one last question. What's one final message or even piece of advice you'd give to fellow high schoolers about making a positive impact on their community, or even if they're unsure where to start?
I feel like you don't need to start your own club if you want to make a good like impact on the community. I feel like we didn't necessarily start our club because we were like, oh, we want to help charity. That wasn't like really the main idea. It was mostly like, oh, I can crochet, she can knit. So I feel like you can join a club. You can just like talk to the people. You can find other organizations to do. You don't need to like create something just to help your community. So just know like there's other options than that. But I feel like because of this club, like I feel like it's such a rewarding feeling, like helping our community, and we're helping so many people help the community.
For sure.
It really I feel like just kind of go out there, join something if you want to. Like, if people hadn't joined our club, I don't think they would have been getting this many hours. So just join a club.
And also, like I've found like there's like 1,010,000 different opportunities and like volunteer organizations that you can help with, like that are aligned with you and your interests. So like if you really like dogs, then there's all sorts of like veterinary and like shelter programs. So just finding something that's important to you and then translating that into helping others is easier than you would think, and it can really help like you feel better because of it, and you know that you helped someone else feel better. So just finding things that you like to do and that other people like to do, and being able to help your community through that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for coming and joining me on the podcast.
Of course.
I'm sure
Thank you for
I
having
learned
us.
so much about what y'all do, and I think it's quite incredible the impact you're making on the community. And thank you to our audience for listening. We can't wait to see you in the next episode.
Yes, bye.
Bye.